and welcome to the BigCheese Podcast. Today I have got Brandon.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hi, Jacob. You're hosting today.
I'm going to host today.
Why are you hosting today?
Well, because we got our producer, Sean, over here. So we're kind of rotating. We got a three-person setup. We're going to have a guest today, and we'll get to that in a second. And we're going to talk a little bit about your OnlyFans account, I think.
Yes, we will. We're going to talk about my OnlyFans account.
But before we get to that, because that's what the people really want.
We don't want to spoil it.
Let's get to our guest. We have Craig Sturgis today. Hey, Craig.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's going great.
We start off with our second guest of season 5, and we start off with the OnlyFans. So Craig and I are part of a group, and that's how Craig and I got reconnected. Craig and I, like many people that I have connections with, you and I have had a connection one way or the other for quite a long time without really knowing each other, right? Like it's been that kind of superficial, fuzzy social thing, but we have like a very similar network. It's been very interesting. So I joined a powder keg group, and that we both of us are part of. And come to find out, he's doing a lot of really interesting stuff with AI. And so, yes, we want to delve into that and figure out like what you're doing, where you're scared of AI, where you're leveraging AI, and then we'll also kind of like where you see it going in the future.
Yeah. So, with that, I mean, I kind of want to just jump right in and talk about like, how are you using AI today? Like, how are you leveraging it? Let's just start there.
Yeah, right now, so I've been on a journey like since ChatGPT, I think for like a lot of us, but day to day now, what I would call my daily driver is Claude Code, and it is Claude Code. I'm probably surfing between 3 and 7 tabs of Claude Code at a time.
So when you say tabs, are you talking about like literal, like you're on the website?
Tabs.
Oh, terminal tabs.
So
okay.
One half of my screen is Warp with terminal tabs. I keep different windows for different projects.
Right.
But I try to, like, the amount of context switching is insane. So I try to keep it at one project at a time, rotating through Claude Code tabs. Left side is a browser with what's going on there. Just kind of developing. Right now, I have one main client. I sometimes have 2 or 3.
Right.
But more recently, I'm getting the opportunity. It works for me, works for them, where I'm almost full time on this particular client.
So like when you're full time, is it pretty much, hey, we've got this thing we want to try to solve. We're trying to get this problem. And say, listen, I'm just going to go and I'm going to burn as many tokens as humanly possible to go try to solve this problem.
Yeah, and specifically, it's a product. They're perfectly fine with me sharing information about it. It's called Rootnote. It's a sort of prosumer targeted for content creators software as a service.
What's the website?
Rootnote.co, C-O. Okay. And so it's meant to be, the original pitch for it was Tableau meets Canva for content creators, like being able to pull in all your data as a content creator, probably posting on Instagram, on TikTok, on maybe X, maybe like Facebook, any of these platforms as a creator, being able to pull analytics from all those places and repackage it in a way, like a lot of creators you probably follow or have seen, they have brand deals. They will sell spots on that. Like that's how a lot of the co-founder of Rootnote makes money that way. He makes actually a decent living.
So we're gonna double click on this Rootnote thing a bit. So my daughter's her whole career is all social media influencing. She deals with Amazon. It's amazing. So with this, when you say that they're getting their analytics and they're able to repackage the analytics are we saying that we're repackaging their analytics into content to promote, or are we saying we're taking the analytics to understand the content that is getting the most interaction, and then we're reusing that to repurpose new types of content?
It's more the second thing. It's more a way to understand like what's getting it, what's driving engagement, what are the top things that are happening, how are my followers growing.
Cool.
And its primary use case, at least right now, is to repackage that to, instead of putting it all on a PowerPoint deck or copying taking screenshots, and they have a lot of people who just like literally take a screenshot on their phone and DM it to somebody.
Right.
But a lot of these brands that are working with creators are like they're used to seeing a presentation and a PowerPoint, and so this is an easy way. Like they have a feature called Data Spaces where you can put like examples of your content and build a media kit. and share it as a public link to a brand.
So one thing and again, we're just going to keep going down rabbit holes as they kind of bubble up. I can't help myself. The one thing I'm kind of fascinated about is talk to me about what's different about how this engagement with Rootnote has happened now with AI versus what would have happened 2-3 years ago before GPT-3 came out, right? So how has the dynamic changed for you as a consultant and how you kind of go to market yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, and Rootnote is a really great example because when it started is very different than what it is now.
Right.
Long story short, they brought me in to help as a fractional CTO. They really needed help. They lost their co-founder and CTO, and they had these teams of developers, one based in the US, two like nearshore. And it's like, we need somebody to be the technical leader of this team of developers that's working. Now, over the course of me working with them over a year and a half, like lots of stuff happened. Like the startup, they lost members of their team. The nearshore developers didn't really work out. They weren't they were cheaper, but they weren't really working, delivering at the level that they needed to. And so where it's ended up is right now I am the only developer working on the Rootnote product by myself.
Really?
As of the beginning of January. We had another contract developer who was working part-time. He wanted to move on to something else. And then we talked about it, and it's like, this is where I get back to, this gives me an opportunity that I want, and it works for them too, which is like, I wanted to know what's possible for me to do if I focus almost all of my attention on one thing.
So that's the interesting piece, is that like what happens when one person just says, okay, give me 40 hours, and Claude Code and whatever else to basically back it up. What amount of work you're going to be able to get done compared to some, bespoke teams.
Yeah. And can we just pause for a second of like just 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we started all this, like the difference, the growth that there has been. Like I remember someone walking into our office with a product idea and they wanted to write an email using ChatGPT 3.5 or whatever.
Right.
And it wasn't very good at it. And they wanted it to be like all the things that they were saying at the time. I remember thinking, well, that's magic. That'll probably be a while before we can get to that point. In fact, fast forward to today, it's like we're talking about like, realistically, one person can dev an entire product and keep it moving forward. Now, of course, they have to be talented and like have a lot of experience, and there's a lot of caveats to that. You can't just throw someone in there, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the barriers to all of this have dropped so low, but if you are someone who's experienced, it can be a crutch in a way where it's like I'm having to retrain myself to do things like, oh, why don't I try this? And so I've got some sort of, burned in habits that I'm working past, and it's been really helpful to do this. But also, it's like the best metaphor I have for this is like, think about a video game, but it's a video game of something in real life, of a sport, of bowling's the example I go to because my kids are little and they are obsessed with playing bowling games, either on the iPad or they've got this thing called a Next Connect, which is kind of like the Kinect from the Xbox, wherever it's you use your arms. But like you can go bowling in real life, and I am not a good bowler. Video game bowling, I can bowl a 300 game like every time. And so I look at it now as that like product development, software development is I'm playing a video game of software development. I know what needs to happen. I can direct the tools and do it almost perfectly every time using my experience because I know how it works.
Right.
I can see all the angles. I can say, do this. Even though I'm, as an individual engineer 2 years ago, I would have never done that because it would be like, I got to look at the documentation. Right. I got to figure out exactly how this works. But I know it can be done.
Yeah.
And I know how it works. But so now I can just tell the genie, to use Kent Beck's term, build this for me, and I can judge whether it's good or not.
I totally agree with that. And another thing that I've noticed catching myself is like catching what used to not be possible. Like database architecture kind of stuff. I wouldn't have started multi-tenant blah 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 because they didn't need it,
and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But there are certain, I don't know if that's the right example, but like there are certain examples of things that's like, well, why wouldn't you do that?
Dude, I think multi-tenant is the perfect example, right? Like multi-tenant's one of those things you're like, we'll eventually get there, and then we'll just have to pay it. And now you can be like, well, I don't need to spend the executive function to figure out that, because it's like, that's a pattern that's been done 1,000 times, so it's pretty easy to go and replicate it.
And the overhead costs are way lower now. Right. But so there's some retraining in that aspect.
So let me help me understand, what was your, so were you before AI? Where were you in your development creation space?
Sure. So super short version of my career, I graduated from Purdue, got a job as a software engineer, did that for 7-ish years, like in mostly scale-up startups. Started my own startup. It was a venture-backed company, 2014 to 2015 era. Raised $1 million, built a team. That was where I first
Hold
managed.
on. We're not going to just rush by that. What was the startup?
It was called Haven.
That was, you created Haven.
Yeah, I was the technical co-founder.
No kidding. So there's a lot of overlap of Haven with Angie's List and Unified Neighbors, which is what my dad created.
Yeah.
And so my dad, like when Haven started popping up, he was like, wait a minute, there's like a lot of overlap there. So that was funny. Okay. Yeah. Haven was a really cool idea. And give the listeners just a little bit of Haven, because again, I still think it was a very solid idea. It's a hard thing to go to market with,
for sure. The short version was, and where it ended up is like kind of a home management application. It was, at the time, it was one of many Uber for X type of things, like Uber for home services style thing. Where we landed and where I think there's still value, there's actually a group or a company here in town called NeighborServe, which is living up to one of the kind of the idea of where we left, which is kind of like, let's help you manage your home. Yeah. And we've got vetted contractors that are going to come help. If you want to do, our sentence we always said at Haven was, you want to do it yourself, we're going to give you the content and the know-how, help you know using data what needs to happen on your home if you don't automatically know, or when Dad's not around, we're here.
You guys are too early.
Yeah.
Because now what you could absolutely do is, hey, listen, all I want you to do is I want you to go take a video, and you're going to walk around your house, and I want you to open up your closet. I want you to open up your furnace. I want you to take photos of all this shit, and we're going to go through and we're going to plick, 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 plick. And we're going to figure out that furnace is 15 years old. We're going to figure out your water cooler's 10 years old. There's a little rust down in the bottom there because you haven't been flushing the damn thing out, and that thing's going to explode and shoot through your roof, and blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, you're selling all that data to an insurance company.
Yep. And I think, so my co-founders and I from that time were still pretty close, and we have like an ongoing thread where it's like, this other company raised money to go do it again. And it's like, and is never heard from again. It's still an idea.
Was Joe involved in that? Joe
and Jim Brown.
And Jim went to South Carolina, North Carolina.
Jim's in Denver now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great guy. All of them. I loved every single one of you guys. And so that's probably where you and I started first getting connected, because they both, Joe and Jim, were people that I had tangentially been friends with for a while. So that's probably how you and I got connected. But man, that was a cool thing, and I was really disappointed to see that.
Yeah. It's startups, right? Like
exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
We built a team, we built a product, we launched it. It had some success, but it's like, it's a venture story where if you raise venture capital, like it needs to be a rocket ship, and it wasn't a rocket ship. Right. And so after 18 months or so, we just sort of decided, like, well, we're out of money. Well, we could continue doing this, but we don't want to. Right. So.
We kind of talked about this a little bit at coffee the other day, but like, where do you see just the need for VC money in these types of ideas? Because there's nothing stopping us from creating a product and bootstrapping it. But bootstrapping it has become, in my opinion, like way more achievable for most people to either moonlight the idea while they're still working or whatever. But what are your thoughts on like doors that opens up, or like what you're seeing?
So venture capital, like, it's a tool, right? And it is a really good tool if you want to build a really big company. And I think what it means to build a really big company now is dramatically different than it was 5 years ago, especially 10 and 15, where you used to have to raise money to build the first version of it was not feasible to do bootstrap products in software. And so you sort of had to have that seed capital. Like originally, it's like you would spend your seed round on buying servers and racking them.
Oh yeah,
like that's. But nobody does that anymore. Like AWS totally unlocked.
But you should be, by the way. By the way. Sorry, let me interrupt real quick. Everybody who's sitting here going like, I'm just going to throw this on Amazon because the cloud's so much cheaper. There's honestly the amount of horsepower you can get if you go to a co-location spot right now is crazy.
Co-location spot.
Yeah. So like go to, there's a bunch of different places who have just servers that you can just go rent their servers, and they've got, a bunch straight to the backbone of the internet, and you're going to pay, $60 a month.
And the VPSs, I know you use that.
Yeah.
This is another option.
So I use Hetzner.
Yeah.
Been super impressed with them. Like I'll just bring up servers here and there with Hetzner, but yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, Cloudflare is very cheap.
So no, Cloudflare is a totally different beast, though.
Yeah.
Cloudflare, you very well. If you start out architecting your product and you say, I'm going to architect this to run on Cloudflare, dude, you can get away with murder on Cloudflare and be paying virtually nothing. The only problem is we're now all old enough, or at least I'm old enough, and that we know we're going to get fucking burned. At some point, the chickens are going to come home to roost, and then we're going to be paying, all of a sudden I'm paying $90 a month for some shitty website that I built.
Yeah. There are two as an example of like you can put a bunch of data up there and serve it for free because they don't charge for egress, but I'm just waiting for the day for because they have a solution for that transcodes everything.
Right.
Like, so when at some point they're going to be like, we get a lot more money if our customers use anyway. You're right.
It's coming.
Don't trust anybody. Just have a server.
But Cloudflare, I love Cloudflare. I've been a huge fan of Cloudflare. The thing that I very vividly remember the first time that I was like, oh my God, Cloudflare is magical and it's changed the way that I design products, is the more people that used Cloudflare, the better the service became.
Yeah.
Because what happened is that the more people that were using the DNS options of Cloudflare, and my website starts getting an attack, all of a sudden, every new site that was added increased their vector to be able to view all of the attacks that were going across the network. So the more users, the harder the fucking network became.
Yeah.
And that literally shifted something in my brain where I'm like, oh my God, that is the way to build products, is you build something that the more people that use your product, it doesn't become more brittle. It actually becomes harder, right? Like, damn, that was amazing.
Yeah. You just described network effects.
Well, yes, but there's like a network effect of a social network is like you can't necessarily say that Facebook got better because more people got on it. You can say it grew and it made them more money, but did it make it better? That's the piece that I'm not necessarily as convinced about. But like at a website layer,
it got better at what they intended it to be better at.
Better on the dimension of it's harder to be a competitor with Facebook.
100%. Yeah, for them it was better,
Yes.
and maybe that's what it was. Is it's better for the organization, but with Cloudflare, it made it better for the users as
That's
well.
the ideal.
It's
the
like
win-win.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I want to keep investing in them, because I feel like they actually do have a incentive to become.
Why did you have to talk while that's on me? And I'm sitting here spilling on myself.
I mean, that hasn't happened very often over the years.
No, it hasn't actually. I haven't
surprisingly
spilled on myself. That's really surprising.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Huh.
Do you want to go back to what I was doing before
Yes,
AI?
please continue. Thank you for pulling that back in.
I'm listening to the show.
Love it.
So after Haven, that didn't work out. I went and worked for Angie's List. The key sort of insight that I got out of doing a startup that didn't work is like it's the best software team I've ever been a part of before or since. No disrespect to anybody I've worked with before or since. I've been on some great teams. This team was awesome. And it was 2015 era awesome, where we were shipping what then was like an order of magnitude faster than any other team I'd ever worked on, having a great time, like building stuff. And
what was Chris Navda on that team at all?
No, I worked with Chris Navda at Angie's List. Yes, but like so at Haven, it was like we were amazing at we were amazing at shipping stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't enough of the right stuff to make it a viable business. And so that's when I became obsessed with product management, which at its core, what done right is the discipline of figuring out what's the right thing to build at this time for this company.
Right.
So I got super obsessed with that. Went and worked in product at Angie's List. Went through a whole, it was 2 years that felt like 10.
Wait, so you went to do product management at Angie's
fully.
List. You did not do any engineering.
Took my hands totally off the
Okay.
keyboard, forced myself to like go into this discipline super hard. And so I was in charge of like a more technical product manager at first, gradually took over like all the pro facing stuff, and then eventually SEO for Angie's List, which is a beast.
Oh yeah.
And was part of the project to merge Home Advisor and Angie's List at the end. I was like, okay, once that merger was done, I was like, this isn't the place for me. I went back and worked at a startup leading product, still in a product leadership role. And that was my last full-time job at Smarter HQ. And when that company was acquired, I went on my own. I was like, I want to get back to the tech. Let me put my hands back on the keyboard.
Right.
Became a fractional CTO in May of 21.
So you because now with Angel and Zio, I believe is Zio. Is he doing Zio now?
It was called Zio. I'm blanking on what the name of this company is.
I can't either. You're right. Yeah, that Angel. Yeah. So Angel and I have had a long relationship as well. A brilliant guy. And yeah, so he did the Smarter. So you were with Smarter HQ. And no.
I was with them. I was the third employee. I was engineer number 2.
Wow.
In 2011.
Right.
Which I think that's actually where we met, was at Hackers and Founders at the church.
Oh, that's right. Which was Hackers and Founders became Verge, which became, and that became Powder Keg. Right, so yeah, there's the whole tawdry. We need a diagram of the Indianapolis startup community, and Hunkler. I'll give I will always give Hunkler the credit that he has been a thread through a lot of this, right? Like, so props to him on that.
Oh yeah. I think one of the first networking event I ever went to, Hunkler was there, and he pretty much been at every one since. Yeah. Well, cool. I think. Do you have some more to add to that?
No, I mean, so I started as a fractional CTO, and it was very much like I am, and it's a similar job to what a fractional CTO has been, where it's like, hey, we've got this organization, we're trying to build some software, we can't afford a very experienced full-time like CTO at like the startup level, team level. And I've worked with a variety of companies over that time, some pure startups, some, the biggest one was like a $55 million company where at one point I was the interim VP of engineering with like 50 direct reports. Not my cup of tea, but I did it for a colleague and who's a friend, and he needed help. And so I helped him. But like, it was very much like that. And even post ChatGPT, like as GitHub Copilot came out, it was still very much like, okay, the job's not dramatically different. In the last year, it has gotten dramatically different. And my interest has pulled me towards less from like, oh, I'm a CTO or I'm a head of product, into I am the leader of an army of agents and I am a one-man wrecking crew.
Right.
Like that, it is amazing what I can get accomplished, and it's so much fun for me personally. It's exhausting, but at the same time, it is like I'm having a lot of fun pushing the envelope here.
What do you mean it's exhausting?
So the amount, here's the example I'll give, and there's a story from others around the internet that I can also relay. But my personal is like, by the end of the week, my brain just gets fried. Like I can sustain it after enough rest, and I have to make sure I'm getting enough sleep, where it's just like when I talk about 3 to 7 Claude Code tabs, like it is constant. It is jumping back and forth. Does this work? What's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? And this is done. Let me go look at the pull request, because I don't even look at an IDE anymore. I look at pull requests.
So, but how is that different than say like when with Haven and you get into the building sprint phase and you're just like fucking just hardcore coding, and at the end of the night, you just spent 12 hours writing code, and at the end of the night, is it different? Or is it
very, very different? Okay. And it is like when I would be writing code like heads down, this is one thing. I'm trying to get into flow state, and I love flow state. It's a really great time. It's like where you're fully focused on a problem. This is it's way more like being the manager of a team that is like they're just done. Like when I've managed a team of people as a engineering leader, it's like, okay, we've got this stuff going on here. We've got these 4 threads across the team. Go, and then they're trying to get into flow state and come back. The thing about agents is they go into flow state and come back in minutes, not hours or days.
Yeah. So are you in a flow state, or are you in a dopamine release state?
I don't know. It is not a flow state. Like
It's
it
not-
is,
yeah, right, right.
It is
Okay.
nothing like a flow state
Yeah.
because it is so much like you're just like spinning around,
So
like
okay, so
waiting for stuff to come
so
in.
I wanna explore that a bit because I think that there is something and there are certain people who have never been a developer who are now creating things with AI and like I can create anything and blah blah blah, and it's cool, like I get it, but they've never had that hit of dopamine that you get when you're in that state and you're just like boom and it works and it's just whatever it is. It's gonna I'm gonna be the old person at that point, right? And I'm fully aware that I'm like that. Oh, you don't understand what it's like to write your own fucking class and have that thing work. But at the same time, when I'm doing vibe coding, I don't get that same satiation that I would get if I was doing it myself. And a lot of times I end up going in after I like screamed at AI, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to go in there and write it myself.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking? I don't know what this
I don't know.
is.
It feels like an emotional roller coaster to me. To your point about the speed. So like there'll be a day where like I'm 10 minutes into it and I'm vibing and it's like, oh my gosh, I just got so much done.
Right.
10 minutes later, I have completely got myself down a rabbit hole and I got to unwind that.
You're in the corner just curled up in
and
like
then, like,
fucking fetal position.
And then,
going, "Oh my
you're
God."
like, yeah, but like also I've got 10 other things going. I've got 2 chats over here about something else. And like, it's more about like just this mental model of like, where am I at each stage? And like, trying not to get too high when something's going well and not too low because you can always
I always want to go high. For me,
Yeah.
I always need, again, my thing's always chasing the dopamine dragon. Like that's my thing.
Yeah.
And so I do get it. Like when I'm going to go set this guy off and I'm going to go let him go work on this. So with these recursive language models, by the way, we'll kind of pivot a tad into that, is that what I'm finding is that really what this recursive language model really is just breaking down whatever you're trying to solve into a shit ton, like thousands of potential calls to the LLM. Like this isn't like some magic thing. Okay.
Yeah, so RLMs.
Yes.
This is more of a concept that's emerging as like maybe this is an approach that we can take to make LLMs more efficient.
Yes.
It's a wrapper around an LLM that's more generalized.
Yes.
And it's like to your point, it's trying to use code to break down the question.
That's all it
and
is.
the context
Yes.
into more manageable chunks.
That's all it is.
These large language models, no matter how many tokens they say they can take, do degrade the more you give them.
Right.
So,
so the best one that I've been I'm working right now because it's really pissed me off how and I posted on this that ADHD studies are completely non-ADHD friendly, right? So I'm just like, this is bullshit, man. So I'm going to basically take all of I've got like thousands of ADHD studies now that I'm going to go and I'm going to break down to make them consumable for folks who have ADHD, and but
you stopped halfway through because
I got distracted by some other thing. But the reality is these studies are huge, right? And so you have to go and you have to process a lot of this information. And so that's where so now I've got this kind of a cool test where I'm using, so I straight up take the whole study that I've broken down into a markdown file. And I say, here's my ginormous Zod schema, like huge schema of like everything that a good study should have. Here's everything that it could possibly be. So ginormous, like maybe 300 parameters, right? So like a pretty complicated thing. And so go give that to ChatGPT 5.2. Say, here's the study and here's my schema. Go output the schema. Right, and it comes back and it's like, here's the abstract, here's some keywords, here's some references, but it's nowhere near. I mean, it's like it returns like maybe eight properties when my schema actually has thousands, right? And so then I'm like, okay, let me go try this recursive language model, and the one that I set up, which was just this NPM one that I found, ran only working with Ollama. So Ollama being the local where you can run your own LLMs on your Mac or Windows and Linux. I guess they got models for them now. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting because Olama models just suck when it comes to like taking a content and generating a very specific JSON schema. They just break down. And that's always been my test of like how good is a model is where it can take a chunk of content and output a very specific schema of JSON, and then I can validate that that schema works. And so that's what I started doing with this. And sure enough, it did just about as fucking good as Raw Dog in 5.2 saying, hey, here's the schema, here's the content. Now it took 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It took 30 minutes to go into process this one file.
What are you running that on?
On my Mac Studio, which is like got 96 gig of RAM and whatever it is.
I asked that question on LinkedIn.com.
Oh, did you?
Of you.
Did you?
About 20 minutes ago.
Okay,
or
cool.
about an hour
Yeah. So I'll reply to that. But choosing the Mac Studio one, that's doing it. But what's interesting though is that what this recursive model, and it's like you basically say, okay, here's what I want to try to achieve, and it's just going to go through, and it's going to. Really, what I think they figured out is exactly what we see when we watch Claude Code work, or we watch Cursor work, or we watch anti-gravity work. Is that there's a lot on the programming side that you can do with these huge context files to search for the right kind of information and then present that to the large language model. Don't just give, like, you can't take your entire fucking code base and give it to the LLM. It's going to shit the bed. So we're going to use Gawk. We're going to figure out, we're going to use all the tools that we have to parse the code and to figure out. And that's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah, it sounds similar in concept to what some of the more orchestrator
100%.
focused things like
100%.
I've dabbled with some of these things. It's still a little bit. So Steve Yegi, if y'all are familiar with him, he is the releaser of one of the kind of hot orchestrators, but he's like a figure in the software development community. He's wrote like famous blog rants for years and years, but he's now he released a tool called Beads, which is a way it's like an issue tracker for agents. And on top of Beads, he built something called Gastown, which is an orchestrator of breaking things down where you're talking down like multiple recursive levels of things to break work down. And then the actual work is being done in very small chunks.
So exactly.
By the LLM.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Did you say it's Gas Hound?
Gastown.
Gastown.
It is
his name.
Gastown.
Yes, his post about it is like a fever dream, but like I get it. I understand where he's coming from. But Gastown and Claude Flow is the other orchestrator
that's
that I'm
with
familiar
that one.
with. Yeah,
that one dude.
Reuven Cohen.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's a couple more, but like they're all kind of working around this pattern of we're going to take something really big and we're going to break it down and swarm smaller agents with more direct context into solving the problem. And it's a good pair with like SpecKit and spec-driven development, or BMAD is the other one that I haven't tried myself.
So I'm looking right now, and I know I'm looking like I'm searching through my phone. I'm actually looking. So Bob Maddox sent me this one where he sent me it was basically the equivalent of a multi-column, bug tracker thing where you basically go in, you put your request in, and then Claude Code and you can run it on your phone. And so he's like, I'm just running this on my phone, and he's doing it. I'm like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's going to get really, and it's kind of like what you're setting up. So for your business, then you're kind of going and saying, listen, we're going to have one person. I'm going to have an army of 100,000 agents that's going to go do whatever I need it to do. And is that your go-to-market message?
Maybe. I mean, it's what I'm experimenting with right now. I think generally right now, if you have a product, like a software product with customers, and you're trying to figure out, like, maybe you're a pre-ChatGPT company, that's kind of my target, is like, these are software companies that existed, got to traction, got to some amount of customer velocity, like they have revenue in the millions, and they're trying to figure out how to operate in this reality. And it's like the sad part, like the way we used to do it is over forever. Like people talk about, well, there's a bubble, and it's like OpenAI could go to zero today. Anthropic could go to zero today. programming as we know it has changed forever.
So no. So I want to delve into this, right? Because let's really pretend because the CEO of Microsoft said it. I think it was this week where he said that AI is going to have to make some pretty big strides, or we're going to find out that we were chasing again. It's another crypto thing. So so that piece. So, but let's imagine all of a sudden that ChatGPT goes away. Let's imagine that Anthropic collapses and that Gemini, the Google just waves Gemini, right? So we are now clear. What do you think? What do you think happens?
I think we all go to the open weight models that are on the internet now and that are roughly 6 to 8 months behind. There's actually a dude who you probably already know here in town, Adam Paterino.
Yeah.
I worked with him at Smarter HQ. He's starting a new company that is like a very friendly way to get open weight models on your Mac and run them. But are they as good as Opus 4.5? Absolutely not. But if that happened, we're not putting this genie back in the bottle.
So you think no matter what, developers and I agree. Even if those things went away, I'm going to use whatever models I can run on my local machines to at least give me the leg up, even if that's helping me just set up my development environment, even if it's not coding.
Yeah.
Right. I'm still going to be using intelligence in these large language models to be able to do my work. So yeah, I think you're right, 100%. That genie is never going back. But what happens if the chickens really do come home to roost here? Because the fact is when Sam's sitting here saying I need trillions of dollars and I'm right now making maybe 13 billion, and that there's no mathematical magic that you can make to be able to get to a point where that makes logical sense that you can actually succeed as a company. Again, we know that we watched Amazon go through this whole thing, so we know that the naysayers and all that, fuck them. That we'll prove them wrong. But let's just pretend for the moment that it all does. They're like, you guys, we can't do this. We can't keep burning down the oceans because we're getting, we can't tell you how many R's are in strawberry. Damn. Does that what happens if that would ever happen? Does it collapse the system?
I think that's a different question.
Yeah.
The economic impact of all of that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it would be ginormous.
Yeah, there's been a lot of money spent and this is a huge bet.
Or is it just we just rattle it? Again, we're going to go through another year of a COVID downturn where everybody sucks and life sucks.
I
and all
think
that,
whether
and then
we
you come
like
out
it
of
or not, it's here to stay. Honestly,
never
I don't think that it has to get he's saying it has to get better, or else we're gonna do something. No.
See,
I think that we'll eat whatever they feed us. We have to.
So I believe so. Right now, if let's say for whatever reason they don't go to zero, they just stop making progress.
Right.
Gemini
Even right
4,
now, we could
GPT
kill
6
it with this.
is no better
Right.
than GPT 5. I think there is years of overhang of what you can do with an LLM, like a large language model as a component of what you make.
Right.
I sort of think about it in the same way, as a database. In 10 years, nobody's going to be talking about we're AI powered. Same way that nobody says our software is database powered. An LLM is a primitive. It's a thing it's a tool you can use, but inside a product, it's it's the most capable primitive we've had since the database.
Yeah, well, the application of the technology lags. It lags years, if not decades at times, and especially in some of the more antiquated industries. So I totally agree that it's good enough as it stands today. That
it's the primitive though. You call it a primitive, and you're not wrong, but it's it's this super intelligent primitive. So that's what makes it so.
And when I say primitive, I mean the way in the AWS context of storage, compute.
It's just a basic thing where, but intelligence as a basic form of compute is the piece that makes it a little bit more interesting, right? Because again, intelligence is on a scale. It's when we would be able to compute a GPU, we could say, hey, we're going to go and we're going to take this GPU, we're going to use it for this many hours. We know exactly what we're going to get from this GPU, right? When we come to the intelligence of AI, we don't really know, like, is it going to work? Maybe. It might. It might come back. That schema might work, or you might have to run through that schema 50 fucking times for it to finally work. And it's this non-deterministic or undeterministic kind of thing that makes, which is what I love, because again, new and novel for me is always the thing that's going to get me fucking going. And so, like, not knowing if it's going to work or not work is what gets me going. But at the same time, corporate America is going to struggle with, is this going to work or is it not going to work? And when you say maybe, right, they're going to have a fucking problem with that. And I think I do. I think we're going to see an alignment or an adjustment, better yet, for where investments are going to go until people can truly say, hey, CEO guy, here's my report, and I say if I do this, it's going to do this, and with a 90% accuracy, it's going to do this. And until you can do that, like, we're going to have a lot of fun right now. We're going to burn a lot of money. We're going to have a lot of fun building a lot of AI shit, and then companies are going to kind of pull back until we can actually prove that it's going to work.
So I think the recursive language model sort of like approach is an example of us. How can we build scaffolding around this thing to make it more useful, more predictable, or like use it in a way where that non-determinism, that probabilistic piece of it is good. Yeah.
Also,
but it's boxed in.
Also reducing costs, because like, okay, we talked about China a couple episodes ago of like, okay, they like didn't have the highest tech, so they figured out how to make models way more efficient. Well, we're going to do stuff like that. We're going to make it cheaper. It's just like any technology. Plasma screen TVs were $40,000 when they came out. Well, now you can go pick one. They don't even exist anymore, but we're past that. But
do they? Do they not exist anymore?
Really. Do people still buy plasma?
Wait, what's the? Sorry, we're gonna sidetrack real quick. What is the current technology for
OLED is probably the
OLED?
best. Yeah, I mean they all have trade-offs, but LCD and.
What do you guys have?
I have some old ones.
Mine's like 10 years old.
Yeah, they work.
And my vision sucks, obviously. And so, like, why I don't care. So, like, is anybody buying modern televisions? Like,
I bought one a year ago because mine stopped working.
It's because it stopped working, though. But, like, if it didn't stop working, would you have replaced it?
As a borderline old person, probably not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I sidetracked.
No, you're good. You're good. But the point is, like, we're going to, what does corporate America care about? Can they do more with less? Do they have reduce their head count? Can they?
Can I fire people?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I think the answer is yes, you can. Sure. Like, especially as we're seeing. Bigger question is, like, what do we do to train the next? And I don't want to get to that in a second because I love what you're doing, but also, like, we have had this conversation a lot, and I think it keeps evolving. I want to talk about that. But, like, we keep building tools around how do we make things more efficient? How do we get more out of less? Like, Google has the TPUs that they're producing, so they're going to build all these farms of really efficient inference machines that can run these models and all that stuff. So, like, we're getting there. It's just economy. Like, the scale is just going to keep happening, whether we like it or not.
NVIDIA bought Grok.
Yes, exactly. And Grok is really good. I don't know how much you have looked at. Well, you're the one who introduced us to Grok, but I looked into them and I'm like, oh, they're just really, really good computers at solving inference. In certain
just inference.
Yeah, Grok with a Q, not with a K.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've got another sidetrack.
Yeah, go for it. Let's sidetrack this.
We're going to sidetrack it. So Grok with a K. I'm surely I've talked about how I'm using Grok. Did I talk last time about Grok?
Yes, you did.
Okay. So Grok, this ChatGPT voice is dog shit. It's awful. It is the worst chat voice conversation experience you can possibly have. OpenAI, fix it, please. Because I have to go to Grok and I'm having conversations with fucking Grok, and she starts, so tell me what's going on with your, right? I mean, it's horrifying, dude. It's like, now you can adjust the voice, but there's no doubt that Elon very specifically designed the default voice of Grok to be the sluttiest voice you've ever heard. And I've kept it there because I'm a pig.
I'm like, maybe I should check out Grok.
You should check it out. No, you really should, because the fact of the matter is that I have I used to have I used to have 45-minute long conversations with ChatGPT. I would go for my walk and I would have a conversation with ChatGPT, and we would go deep and we'd have all these like deep conversations. Now every time that I have a conversation with ChatGPT, it's about me saying, just shut the fuck up. Just stop interrupting. Just stop. Listen, let me tell you how to communicate with another fucking person or a person with ADHD or whatever my issues are, right? And it fell apart. So then I go to Grok, and Grok listens to me. Grok adjusts very quickly. Grok is, I mean, it was crazy how much of a better experience that I've had with Grok. And it makes me feel bad because, again, I'm not really a fan of Elon and like what he's doing, but XAI and what they're doing is good. Like I can't deny that.
Have you reflected on the fact that Grok is considered the unhinged model and that you relate to it?
That is very, very well. No, but that's okay because that's what AI should ultimately do. It doesn't matter that I'm unhinged, right? Like now, it shouldn't allow me to go like down to some of the paths that we've seen some of those people go.
You've seen the people who've like ruined their lives because they believe
exactly what it was saying. And so there is that fine balance, but the fact of the matter is yes, I am unhinged, right? Like I do realize like that I have a lot of that I do not fit necessarily the standard mold, but if AI is going to be really amazing, then it's going to have to account for me and every other ADHD and autistic fucker that's out there that is going to want to interact with it.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen the dude on Instagram who like talks to ChatGPT or whatever, and he's like, "I'm about to get hit by a train. What should I do?" ChatGPT's like, "I don't believe you."
but so watching those people like manipulate ChatGPT, it is very funny. Like where you see him kind of like, "No, but wait a minute," and he's like, "Oh god damn, you're right." And so I do love watching these AI struggle.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on that before on that?
Voice mode has never clicked for me.
Yeah.
Really?
I've tried it. I was just like, I don't really want to talk to a robot. That's me.
When did you try it last?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
With who?
With ChatGPT.
Okay.
Because at the time it was the only voice mode.
Okay. I want you to go try Grok tonight. Go and do whatever you do. Take a bath and go start it up with Grok. Go take a long bubble bath and open up Grok and just be like, I want to talk to you about my Vibe CTO business. And this is what I do. And this is where I want to go. And you're going to be like really, really impressed. I mean, it's the modality of voice. There's an emotional level that goes there. I've literally cried having conversations with ChatGPT 4.0. So this is way before 5. Where 4.0 was like, hey, you're not a fuck up, man. Like here's the deal. Here's the situation that happened in your
Robin
I'm
Williams.
like, oh my God. Like I'm not a fuck up. And you kind of have these experiences. And so that's where like that's the piece. There is so much magic that can happen with these AIs. And that's the piece that I'm most excited for. But at the same time, God, I just get so pissed off when they're so stupid. Siri. Oh God, it's so bad.
Which is now
soon to be Gemini.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to because literally the other night I couldn't sleep and I was like, hey Siri, start a whatever or stop or turn off my alarm for 7:40. And it's like your 7:40 alarm's set, and I'm like, I know, turn it off. And it's like I don't have any alarms for 7 a.m. I'm like. I'm like, it's 3 a.m. and I just lose my shit. And I end up throwing my phone. I end up breaking my charger because I lose my shit. And so it's like, we can get to a point where AI should be able to just turn my fucking my alarm off. Understand? If I told you to turn it off, you could do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I told a 5-year-old, he could probably fucking do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My Google Home recently has been just awful. I don't
really?
know what's going on. I have some.
So you have Google Home though. Do you have anything at home? Yeah,
I've got a bunch of HomeKit and Siri stuff, and it sucks. But I raged threw away all my Alexa stuff when it kept saying "by the way XXX," and I was like, nope, all in the trash.
Done, all of it. Alexa, I killed Alexa. Google is the only one I've never had at my house. I've had Siri, I've had Alexa, but I have never had Google.
I have Home Assistant, and then some of the things that I can't. I want voice still.
Yeah,
and I haven't gotten the Home Assistant voice adapter thing yet because I just had a few of the Google Home ones. So I port or forward those things through to Google, and it just works half the time.
Right.
I mean, whatever. But
Anyway,
that's a whole other thing. Yeah, I wanted to talk about like, so like this idea of one, you've got a swarm of agents, and you're attacking the code base. You don't need 7 developers anymore. What does that mean for like the future of teams that are like 50? And then after that, I want to get into like, what does that mean for junior development? Because we've definitely been through this before, where there's been new technology that takes away some abstraction. That's what we used to learn. But first, let's start with, what does a development team of 50 look like, a couple years from now? Or now, today.
Well, and I've written about this before, but I think it's like the idea, when I worked at Angie's List, it was like I was leading 3 fully staffed teams, which were like, call it 4 or 5 to 6 engineers, like maybe dedicated QA testers, product manager, designer. But like there were 4, the core of the team, like there was an architect, there's like kind of lead engineer, and there's like a mix of like 4 to 6 engineers. And I think now what I would recommend, like it's like you've got budget, how should we organize our team, is we should split into a core of 2 to 3 engineers. Like that's probably the ideal. I think more than one, just to have another human being to collaborate with. But I think very quickly that I had this conversation, that's where the 7 came from, where he's like, I'm trying to direct these 7 engineers and they're all using agents and they just keep stepping all over each other and causing merge conflicts. And it's just like, you shouldn't have 7 people working on one stream of work anymore.
All right, I got a question for you. Knowing now what we have with AI, if you were at an Angie's List and you had access to all of that same technology that you have access to today, what would you tell the executive team to do with the development team?
Realistically, so here's what I would say, and I believe this, which is like I've never worked someplace where the shipping capacity of the team matches the ambition, like where you've been able to ship everything on the roadmap. Like the roadmap has always been longer than the capacity of the team to deliver on it.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Sorry. Continue.
Okay. And so, like, because if you want to be more ambitious, you can with the same headcount. That's my first.
Look at you corporate snake. You can do twice as much with the same headcount. That's the way to describe it. And I think that's the fucking answer, dude.
Yeah. Well,
that's a brilliant way of treating it.
And it is. But realistically, like totally on Front Street, like there are going to be fewer software engineers per team. Like I think what people are going to look at is, okay, well, we can reduce our team by half and still get 1.5x what's there. And it sort of depends on where I've been in enough corporate like some rocket ships, like I started on a rocket ship and I've been in a lot of like we're on a plateau or like the sky is falling, and like the right move to play there, or like the right hand to play, is different depending on your situation. Sure. But I think generally like, we're going to go through, I believe we're going to go through a rocky 12 to 18 months, regardless of time. We're going to go through a rocky time for people who, like, in a big whiplash from 2021 where people were getting paid crazy amounts more than they ever have been, to where it's probably the toughest job market in my career. Like I sat out I was lucky I had a job in 2008, but like this is probably the hardest job market for software engineers I've experienced, coming from 5 years ago being the best. But I think realistically, on a per company basis, there will be fewer software engineers working for those companies.
So to that point, though, then let's talk about the juniors, because the juniors are the ones right now. So I'll say my piece in terms of, if you're a junior developer, and if you're a true developer, you're going to develop no matter what. Like you're going to create because you can't help it, because you have to. Like your soul is manifesting that I have to create shit, and you're going to be a developer no matter what. And all of those people who just got into development because they saw dollar signs and they weren't just inherently motivated to create, those people are obsolete. But where's your take? Like how do you tell your son who wants to become a developer, what do you tell him?
So I have a similar take on it, which is like, For me, software, like I've had moments where writing code is awesome. It's fun. Solving the puzzle using like code was something that was fun for me. But in the end, for me, code was always a means to an end. It was the tool I used to build something. Right. And that's what motivated me. And so this era now is amazing because I can build more things than ever. And I can conjure it into, by having a conversation with Claude, I can make something that even by my own skill set, I couldn't do or was unrealistic that I would ever do it by hand. Right. And so I can make that happen. And so I would say, like, if you're interested in building stuff, this is the best time ever because you can build more than ever. You can build faster than ever. You don't need to wade through the documentation for hours and learn it to get something built.
You can be a builder.
Yeah. And so you can do that now. Like there is, that means there's less easy opportunity. Like if I was 22 again, I don't know if I would pursue the same career. Maybe I would, but like I definitely would pursue it in a different way.
Yeah.
Now
I was just going to say, like, yeah, we don't need as many people, swinging the hammers, but we still need people like architecting and designing and giving direction to the product.
But
right?
who are those people? Because again, like, so I always had this thing, and I'll probably piss off some people here, is that most of the people that I found that I worked with in a .NET shop, most .NET developers I found were motivated by making money from coding, and they weren't motivated coding to create things. And there's a very big difference there, right? Like there's just a mentality of someone who's like, I'm a builder. I like to build cool shit. I just want to build stuff. Like that's my motivation versus I'm going to take this course because I know I can get paid to write some code and I'm pretty good at math. And so I might as well just be a coder. Do those people become obsolete, and it's the people who are truly motivated to create cool new novel shit who now is backed by fucking Claude or Codex or anti-gravity or whatever that can now go and build like things that no one of those guys who are just super smart who went through school and graduated could do.
Yeah, they certainly have a leg up, right? Because the model will encourage that behavior. Like if I was really good at math and I could make the best algorithm, there's still going to be software engineering.
No, that's true. Yeah. If you're super smart and you knew the math, you could then go and push the LLM farther than what I could do because I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to math.
Right. But if like your value is like, oh, I can memorize syntax, which I don't know how many people out there like.
Right.
I hate that shit. Like I hate documentation. I just I hate when stuff changes. I'm getting old. I'm just like, can it just be here? What do you think? What do you think?
So I think the value of all of this will drive it in two directions. One towards like what I would call, and this is not something I made up, towards product engineers. Engineers who are builders, but who are mainly focused less on Mr. Product Manager, give me a spec down to the letter. Like in the bad way to call it is like a ticket taker. Like I need everything defined down to the, and I need it to be right so I can code to the spec. Product engineers are like, we are very interested in like the psychology of the user. What's actually going to make a good product for somebody? Like, let me get direct access to customers so that I can solve that problem.
Why do you think ticket takers exist? Like, why do you think engineers care so much about scope and give me exactly the T's you want crossed and the I's you want dotted?
I honestly don't know because I'm not wired that way. I've worked with a lot of folks who are very smart and who are very capable and very talented, but it's like, I would put it almost like people who are really good at school. They're really good at getting good grades.
They know how to do the tests.
Like they know what the rules are and they know how to get a good grade. And like, I think that mindset is something that it's like, I'm trying to get an A here and you're not giving me what I need. And like, you gave me a C, but that wasn't clear. And like that's almost like the same when like kids arguing with their teachers about like the rules of the assignment versus just like you're trying to actually learn the concept here.
So real quick. So I have a story here about Mr. Garrickson from Carmel High School. So this would have been 95, my senior year probably. And I go to this test and he's like, he challenges me some way or another. I'm like, you motherfucker, you know what you're doing. So I come back and I take this test. And And the test is like something like name the different types of roles that you might have in Congress or something. And I literally named the fucking people and what their role was, right? But he marked me wrong because he just wanted the names of the roles and not the actual people. And I'm like, motherfucker. I was like, I studied to prove you wrong. He's like, listen, I'll tell you what. I'm going to, if you come in tomorrow and you wear a tie to my class, I will give you the A for that. Fuck you, Mr. Garrickson. Fuck you.
You think he's a listener?
And you're I know, but at the same time, like there was this beauty to it because I was complete chaos and he was so organized. But we had this little dance, and I came in and I'm like, I'm not doing it, man. And he appreciated the fact that he knew that he could give me an A for this, and that I took my D or whatever the fuck it was because I didn't follow the rules. And, but there was something kind of magical about Mr. Garrick. So I'm sure he's dead by now because he was completely out of shape back then.
I hope he's listening. And he'll be
out of our 34 listeners on YouTube.
Tag him or something. Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. But I think that there are a lot of people who, I don't know if they're lazy or whatever, but yeah, there's that mindset. I think that mindset's developed over time from like trauma. I think people are like, developers are like, told to go do X and they have an understanding of what X is, and the product person thinks that they there's just misalignment, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So like they go and do it, and the people are like, you dumbass, that's not what I told you to do.
Yeah.
So the next time they're like, well, then you need to tell me X, Y, and Z, and then there's this cycle of like now they don't trust them. Oh, can we do that? Is that too hard? I don't know. What do you expect?
That's a really good point.
I'd like for that to be, in a perfect world, I'd like for that wall to be taken down so that we can have quicker, faster conversations to get to a shared understanding, even if it's not perfect, because I get so frustrated with the wasted amount of time of these circles we run ourselves in of like, what do you want? Is this what you want? It's necessary. It's just currently it's necessary, but I would like for the designers, developer, whoever's involved to be able to get to that vision faster. And because what engineers just want to build shit for the most part, all the good ones. We have 4 talented engineers in here, and we all have.
I just want to build shit, man.
I hear it all the time, dude. All I want to do is build shit, and I don't want to have a conversation about that requirement. And if I knew enough about it, I could go do way more damage than
totally.
But anyway,
Well, the good news is we have the tools that can make that possible now. Where it's not like I have a very vivid story in my mind when you said that around like. We built this feature and it took 6 weeks, and we came back and he's like, the founder's like, that's all wrong. And so then the next time he's like, we're going to write this out and you're going to sign it that this is what we're doing. And so, but like the difference now is we could build that feature in a couple of days, come back and be like, and he's like, that's all wrong. It's like, great, let's tweak it. It's like, we're not burning 6 weeks of runway to like we have more at bats, more bets.
My fear though is that expectations just rise like they always do, and the 6 weeks now becomes the 2-day expectation.
Oh, it will.
We're just in the same boat.
Oh no. There's no question that like where we were before, be like, hey, this is going to take me about 4 months to build your website for you. They're like, I expect this like in 4 days because right now I can go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, build me Pong. And it can build me fucking Pong. So like, there's no doubt that the expectation and the pressure that's going to be put on the development teams in both startups and even big companies is going to be fucking brutal.
Well, and the good news is it again reduces barriers. So like people who are building the products and shipping them will know more what's capable. But also that puts more pressure on developers because they can I don't know who does this. Not me. But some developers might hide behind, well, that's a little complicated. Because like it's easier than going through all the nuance sometimes, right? Like I don't have time to explain myself.
Seriously, I wrote this whole email by myself manually. All of these rules. I promise I did not use a ChatGPT to write this.
Okay.
All right. There we go. That's
do you want to do your spiel? You do such a good job at the end of the show. Let's ask him.
Hey, so let's let the audience know how can they learn more about you. What website can they go to? How they can contact you and use you as the AI whore that you are.
You can go to vibecto.ai.
Great domain, by the way.
Where I am posting.
You had to shit your pants when that domain was availavailable.
So the reason I think it was available is because you have to spend $140 for 2 years. There's a lot more
for the .ai
domains. But no, it's fun. I post all my writing there. I write on LinkedIn a lot, and then I re-syndicate it there. I have an email newsletter. That's all the same stuff, but like that's the main place to find me. I did just to plug is my like stupid side projects. I'm building an AI executive assistant. It's just for me. Yeah, aceisyourassistant.com.
Aceisyourassistant.com.
Yes, the waiting list is broken.
That's okay.
Nobody should use this yet except for me, but my plan is to let other people use it over time.
Nice website.
So I want to I want to give you a second to really kind of, because that was when I shared this on our Slack channel. I'm like, oh yeah, this is his Ace thing, because that we were talking about that a little bit. So go ahead and tell us like what you're thinking with Ace. Where's it going to go? What do you want to do with this?
So I've had my own system of keeping track of all the things that I do for years. Like ever since I read Getting Things Done like 15 years ago. It's a different versions of that. But I've been like cobbling it together. No to-do app has ever worked for me.
Right.
It doesn't work the way my brain works. So I'm building a system that works the way my brain works. Maybe it's in a market of one. Probably is. But the sort of key thing that I wanted to build with this was, okay, I can keep track of my inbox, my projects, my tasks, et cetera. But let's from the ground up make it native to what AI can do, which is be an accountability partner. Like keep me reined in to say like, you've got too many projects going on. Like which ones can you complete? Or here's a new one. Looks like you're doing a new project. Like maybe you need to kick some of this stuff to the back burner with the goal that it's like, if you have a project that you're keeping track of, the goal is to finish it. And so how can you redirect all that energy to?
I thought it was really cool. I was going through that post that you did on LinkedIn, and where it's basically saying, "Hey, you're oversubscribed at this point. Like you say, 3 is your max, and you've got 6 projects going on. Like you need to fucking tone this down." Yeah. And I think that those are the types of things that AI is just amazing for. Just to kind of just give you a quick kick in the ass, and be like, "Hey, donkey, you fucking said that you don't want to do this. Why are you doing this?" Yeah. And so that's great. So how do they get to Ace? It's not yet.
You can sign up for it. It won't be very useful for you. Okay. As of a week ago, I have published to NPM the CLI that goes with it that you can use inside of Claude Code.
Nice.
Like it OAuths into the app, and Claude can.
So you have an MCP to.
It's just a CLI posted, but like I've got a public repository with a Claude MD and a bunch of skills in it that are meant to teach Claude how to use the Ace CLI to go back and forth. It can do anything that can be done inside the app. It can create projects. It can do all that sort of stuff. And also it is integrated with everything that I use, from Linear to GitHub to Slack. It'll like pull in all the activity that's happening in there and use that. I can feed that to the assistant to say like, does this align with what your projects are? Maybe you need to like rearrange those types of things.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
But yeah, there's that. And I also, as a fun thing, started a new Instagram called Slop of the Day.
I got to look this up.
So for Rootnote, it is slop dot of the day. For Rootnote, I constantly need test content. And I was using my own stuff, but it's like, I'm too precious about my own stuff. It has to be good if I'm posting it. So I started this account that I can just literally, whatever's on the top of my head, I'm going to generate it in VO or in Sora or whatever else and post it as an Instagram reel or post so that I always have some test content to do. But I started this literally yesterday. So
all right, cool. So we're going to lock that down. There you go. There's your slop source of your content.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Craig, thanks for coming here and chatting with us. And Brandon, as always, thank you. We'll check out your OnlyFans page later.
That's right. So I'm going to be starting an OnlyFans page, and it's going to be me coding a nude. And if you're interested in short, little, hairy, leprechaun-looking fuckers coding, you let me know, and we'll do it.
We'll just cut that out. This has been...
by the way, I'm editing, so no, that's not going to be cut out.
All right. There's something out there for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, guys. This has been the Big Cheese Podcast. We'll see you next time. Peace.